a breath, everyone. And if we haven't got that much noise in the background, I'll keep it off mute for the time being. That would be nice. So welcome, everyone. This is the first of 2 full moons that we get this month. I shall not be celebrating the second one. I'll be being dragged around the street by my kids because it's Halloween. And some things have to take priority in one's life. This is a harvest moon today. The main purpose of this, I was about to say this evening, but I think we've got a couple of people in California and it's still this afternoon, isn't it? The purpose of this is to, in essence, to help energy move along. For the last few months that I've been doing this, and Lewis has been supporting me with it as well, originally the intention was to support actually departed spirits who are stuck in the astral / earth realm, help them move on, because I imagine, or I envisage, whatever, you know, when that experience when you're stuck in a dream and you don't want to be in the dream, that's what I imagine it to be like. And that was the first intention of doing this work. That sort of expanded to include families that are grieving lost ones. That expanded to include the general morass of etheric debris that is rattling around our planet, like stuck for the metaphor to use. The etheric debris that's rattling around our planet. How about that? And a fair bit more from the other night, right? The other night, the instance on television, should we just call it? So this is affecting us. This is affecting our clarity of thought. It's affecting our clarity of mind and well-being. If you spend any time on social media, as I currently have to, you find that people tend to vent their feelings rather than process them. And when people vent their feelings, it goes into the next available container, doesn't it? and we're like crystals. We tend to absorb energy very quickly and then magnify it. And so on a day like today, when we've got the oomph, to use a technical metaphysical term, we've got the oomph of the full moon behind us, we together can plug in like circuit boards and move, sorry, just letting someone in, and move a greater degree with all of that together than we might by ourselves. And of course, it's the full moon. There's tons and 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 tons of full moon typey things going on right now. Thank you all for being on this one, by the way. And in their own way, all these little groups getting together like ours is and helping to move that along. That is the overarching intention of this today. Some of you might be feeling a bit slow and sluggish today. A little lacking in motivation, perhaps. Not all of you, but some of you might have been feeling that. Yes, your hands going up. And I'm confident to say that by the time we're complete today, you'll be feeling lighter. Because those of us that are interested in this sort of thing, we probably tend to take on energy for other people. We're probably connected to other groups and so on. And we do that because we're able to. And not into the empath victim thing. It's just not a. It's not a. Doesn't help my cognizance of these things. If we take on energy from people, it's because we're capable of doing it and we're capable of moving it. And as a group, we can. I've used the word "move" too many times, but I haven't got a better one. We can move so much more. Yeah, and. After that, Lewis has very kindly agreed to expand on something that showed up in the fall equinox group we had the other evening. No, the other morning. When was it? What even time of the day was it, Lewis? It was the evening, wasn't it?
It was at night, yes.
It was at night. And a very, very beautiful, loving being called Lady Venus came through at the end. And someone I think said in that group, you know, could you expand on who is that? And I don't, I don't super know myself, but Lewis does. So, you're welcome. You're most welcome to stay on and listen to Lewis's explanation of Lady Venus and her relevance in these times. I'm certainly interested to hear about that. Anyone want to say anything about their day, how they are, or anything at all?
I'll speak. I've been feeling ill all day.
Yeah.
And didn't really think I was ill. You know, I took my temperature and I'm fine. My blood pressure's fine. So what you said really, yeah, maybe that's it.
Right. It might be because I'm sorry, I'm just moving along here. It might be because for me, I lost a friend the other day. I think I knew it was going to happen. I remember sitting with her earlier in the year, and I kind of knew, and she kind of knew, and neither of us said it. Might be because of that. But just been noticing in emails people have been sending around and on social media and so on, seem to be the subject of people passing seems to be in the air as well. It might just be the lens I'm seeing things, and it did remind me that it reminds me. I'm reminded of attachment, right? That we can do our best to detach, we can do our best, but attachment is attachment for as long as it is. And there's nothing like love and connection and levity to dissipate and diminish attachment. And for those of you, any others of you that are feeling a little heavy at the moment, it's probably because of attachment of some kind. I'm not going to get into the depth of it now.
Joshua?
Oh, sorry, Lewis, please, yes.
Would you mind if I just share something about this particular full moon that might be relevant to what a lot of us are feeling? So, not being the astrologer, I rely on the great God Google to help me. And so I went in and found out a little bit about what we're dealing with right now, and it opened my eyes. So this particular full moon is in Aries, a rather powerful fire sign, I believe, known as the warrior, although people refer to it as the fearless pioneer. This particular full moon is conjunct with Chiron. Hello? I was getting some background noises.
That's all right. You go on, Lewis.
Okay. My understanding is this particular full moon in Aries is conjunct with Chiron, the wounded healer. So conjunct for me just means reinforces, synergizes, magnifies, in theoretically a positive way. In this case, it is causing a lot of the things that are the wounds our ego would dearly love to completely deny, much less learn from and heal, to surface anyway. Because as Joshua so rightly said earlier, why do we experience these things? Because we're ready to. Because there's some aspect of it that we are open to learning from. And maybe instead of move, you can also use the word transmute or transform. You know, and isn't that what we're doing when we evolve in general? So when I think about the energy of today, one website put it, our invitation is to face our fears, push forward and through any obstacles that present, and have the courage to pursue our highest dreams. So I might keep that in mind as we go through this cleansing and clearing, because we're really, as advocates, as representatives of humanity, we're helping to transform the collective angst that we're all a part of. It's that same angst in the lowest astral that keeps the certain consciousness, certain patterns, quote unquote, stuck. It's the same angst in our social media that sort of propels what is a little confusion into hysteria, et cetera, et cetera. I think you can draw the dots. Anyway, just thought I'd share that before we dive in.
Beautiful. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you very much. Right. So there's a process I go through with this work, and as I was making hot dogs for the kids earlier on and standing over a slaving hot oven, of course, Spirit said to me, you really actually don't need to do that at all. And I'm like, yeah, but I like it. So, it's a process to get us into a space where we can be connected, and through that, a lot more moves, or as Lewis says, transmutes. I think we're all here. That's going to be here. So why don't we close our eyes? We'll take a breath. I'm going to mute all but me now. And as we sit, we take this time for ourselves, albeit connected to each other as part of this work and this group connected to all other groups doing similar work today or at this time. As you breathe and you make yourself comfortable, even just set the intention to let go. Give a gentle embrace to your busy mind and all the things you have to do, and all the people that rely and depend on you. And as we breathe, we're just letting the different hooks in us be disconnected, that we can enjoy some clear time in our own energy fields. And so we begin with prayer. Heavenly Father, Mother, God, Goddess, sweet essence of love, of light, purity, angelic sweetness. We call on that within and without, around us. As we together as one group, we connect to the Mother Earth. We ground ourselves. We ground ourselves, and as a group, we become ready to work. We call to the blessed Father Sky above us. As we prepare our vessels to receive. I call on the love of the four directions, welcoming the presence of the archangels in each corner around us, that we sit in safe, sacred space, clear space, light space, love-filled space, that we can be safe, comfortable, and relaxed to open our spirit to be of service to ourselves, service to our family, service to our community, service to the country, and service to the planet. We hear, we understand, we accept the call to higher purpose, as all of humanity surely does. For this beautiful work, I call upon with gratitude the presence of the Archangel Azrael, the one who leads to the light. I call on the very highest good of our time together this evening, under the harvest full moon. In love and gratitude, purity and service, we say, Amen. So again, we return to our breath. We return to our breath. And from the grounded and connected space that you sit in your homes, would you imagine or visualize your Merkaba field around you? If you do not visualize well, just imagine that it is there. a high frequency aspect of you that brings you into greater geometrical coherence. It also serves as a form of dimensional transportation. And so we allow ourselves into ours. We watch it spin around us. And with our eyes closed, we leave our current space and we journey together. And we journey together. And you may look to the left, you may look to the right, and you'll see each of us traveling with you upon a journey. This, of course, is only a short journey, for there is no space, there is no time. And we arrive together at a beautiful, cavernous, ornate building that towers over us. And we depart our Merkaba transportation. We step out together. We climb the steps of the building. And we are ushered in by welcoming hosts of angelic beings who are delighted to see us. And in we enter into the vast hall. This is the Temple of Ascension. All of you have been here in some capacity before. So we enter this beautiful hall, we sit in a circle. Breathe. We sit down in a circle in crystalline chairs. Behind each of us are 10 of our own guides. For what we do for ourselves, we do for them also. Breathe. In the center of this circle, you'll see a dazzling white flame that is shooting up more than 100 feet into the air. Dazzling white it is. The Blessed Azrael walks into the center of this circle, yet it seems he comes from all directions. Meeting the gaze of all of us somehow at the same time, and breathe. Round us in a clockwise circle, you will now pass a stream of energy. This will continue to circulate through all of us. Breathe as you feel and notice its signature. It is love, because of course it is. And as it moves through all of us and circulates and circulates and circulates this divine current of energy, so it cleanses and clears. And each time it circulates, the frequency raises. We will just allow this to continue to pass through us. Azrael goes to the center of the room where the white column of fire is and magnifies it tenfold. It is expanded, but it almost reaches your feet and shoots up in the air further than you can see. Breathe. that you are here as part of this work, that you are here present in the temple. You are the representative of much energy to be transferred, to be transmuted. And as we breathe together in 1, 2, 3, so we begin to let this through us and into the white flame of transmutation in front of us. And so relax now. Relax as this flows out of you through your heart. The heaviness, the baggage, out of you, out in front of you, and into this white flame. Where it is immediately changed into a higher version of itself. All you need to do is breathe. As you breathe and this work continues, now, Blessed Azrael allows through beings that are caught in the density of this etheric world. Through our presence here, they have the grace to move on. And so you see them enter high up in the temple from all sides, more than you can count. And all drawn towards this central point, this vast flame burning in the center of this room. All you need to do is breathe, see them in your mind's eye. Allow the current to pass through you. Have no concern if your mind wanders. You are connected, you are plugged in. You are appreciated. And as we sit and as we hold space, Blessed Azrael will come to each of us, place his right hand upon our chest. In affirmation of the greater work it is taking to be present on the earth at this time. He places his hand upon your chest to give to you what is transferred from him is grace. Breathe it in as you feel his touch. All the while, thousands and thousands and thousands of beings who had been stuck are finding their way to the light. On this day, you can hold this degree of frequential space because of the support of the full moon. And for these final moments of work in the Temple of Ascension, the attention is upon each of us now. As you cast your gaze to the next 6 months, these next moments are for you to let go of your fears, your concerns, your disappointments, your despondency. send this to the flame in front of you. And breathe. This is beautiful work, beautiful work. Blessed Asriel raises his hands and begins to diminish the flame in front of you. With a circular wave of his arm, the current flowing through us all ceases. He bows to us all, and we return the gesture. We embrace the guides that have joined each of us. And we turn together, and we leave the hall of ascension, stepping outside of the doors and descending the stairs and allowing our Merkaba field to envelop us once again. The Temple of Ascension, of course, is always available to us, regardless of the time we choose. And so we alight and set off together again. You may like to hold the image of your sisters and brothers traveling in the same way as you, for a moment in the future where you do not feel supported, that you may know that you are. And so we arrive and return into our bodies, into our physical bodies, the room where we left, we return to. And just beginning to feel your essence in your physicality again, the room around you, the sounds around you. You may wish to gently rub your chest, your forehead, your ears. As we look to return to our bodies, we take some moments just in gratitude to each other, in gratitude to the Blessed Asriel, to the angels of the Temple of Ascension. Gratitude to ourselves for the path we are taking, the responsibility for ourselves and to humanity. Gratitude to ourselves that we may dexterously take on energy and let it go. Oops, excuse me. Okay, I am Lewis. I'm just trying to find you, sorry. There we go. Thank you, Lewis.
You're very welcome. Thank you. That was beautiful, and I saw something that I had not seen before in our previous experiences that some of you may find interesting. So probably because every time we do this work, it gets a little stronger. Probably because of the particular full moon we're in. Probably because we're now outside technically the crucible, and in the last 3 months of a very important sort of growing, transforming time frame. We had some very interesting folks joining our group in the temple. There were representatives from every racial group on the planet, because every race has its own karma, its own patterns, its own weights, its own dynamics. There were representatives from every country. There were representatives from every root race. There are representatives from every major religion and spiritual tradition. Because all these groups, to the tune of billions of souls, has woven together part of the momentum of the fabric of this planet's energetic weave. Some transcendently gorgeous, amazing, just blow your socks off. Some, OMG, let me out of here if you could even perceive it, if you could even move. Some of it's that dense, some of it is that brilliant. And that was what we were and are working with. Rest assured, if you are on this phone call, you most likely and almost certainly have the opportunity to do similar work a lot more than you think when you're out of your body at night, because it is sorely needed. So that has nothing to do with Lady Venus, but just wanted to share. Comments, questions? Anybody else have anything about any of that?
I'll have to unmute everyone. There we go. I think you're good to go, Lewis.
Okay. Okay, so Joshua reaches out to me and says, somebody wants to know more about Venus. It's like, okay. And that's all he said. So I asked myself, all right, so what about Venus? And 3 sort of streams of thought came to mind. Did a little bit of research, and hopefully some of this will be of interest to you. So first off, when you think about Venus, I think about the planet Venus, because that's obviously the aspect of Venus energy, imagery, frequency that we're most familiar with in a day-to-day world. So once again, not being the astrologer, I did a little hunting, and I found something that I think does a fairly good description of describing the essence of Venus. So I'm just going to read it to you. If you're interested, it's from a website called cafeastrology.com. All right, so let me just read this. Venus, the goddess of love. In astrology, Venus has dual rulership over Libra and Taurus. As a result, Venus represents 2 major areas of our life, love and money. Now, that being said, that is rather simplistic, so let's expand. Venus rules our sentiments, what we value, the pleasures that we take in life. Grace, charm, beauty are all ruled by Venus. Through Venus, we learn about our tastes, our pleasures, our artistic implications, what makes us happy. Now, interestingly enough, you can tell what makes you happy by noticing where you spend your time, where you spend your money. Because those are the 2 greatest sort of frequencies of quote unquote currency that we possess. So I thought that was kind of interesting. All right, then let's talk about Lady Venus, aspect 2. So Lady Venus came to visit us during the 9/22 fall equinox event. She is the twin flame, the feminine counterpart, if you will, of a being known as beloved Sanat Kumara. The word Sanat Kumara, I believe, means eternal youth. Sanat Kumara is a being that sort of is the Lord, if you will, the animating intelligence of the planet Venus, and probably has precursors beyond that. And Lady Venus is his complement. And of course, you figure out pretty soon, much like when you talk about things like twin souls, twin flames, that kind of thing, or even most of the gods and goddesses of any pantheon that has a lot of them, you know, Hindu, Buddhist, Egyptian, Chinese, Norse, on and on. At some point, you figure out they're all aspects of the whole. They're all aspects of the one. And so I don't suspect there's any difference at an essential level between Lady Venus and Sanat Kumara. They're just sort of different aspects of one divine expression. The reason Sanat Kumara matters so much is because this being was literally what's known as the Lord of the world at some point in our planetary history. There's something called a spiritual hierarchy. Sort of think of them as celestial managers of the Earth School, much like you'd have a group that runs a university. And their job is literally to hold the space for, manage the spiritual energy of, work with the resources available to all the souls of Earth evolving through time. And much like any normal university, the staff and the office of the president and the secretariat, you know, they change over time. At one point, literally millions of years ago, Sanat Kumara, and therefore Lady Venus, were involved at the sort of fundamental level of human evolution. My understanding, according to some of the old books, is that if not for their evolutionary input and support, the very first souls that got to the point where they graduated from the Earth School and became what we would call ascended masters would not have happened. Now, my understanding is that very early in the evolutionary process, when we were very naive and we were just sort of becoming aware of matter and caught up in the illusions thereof, we thought, you know, we know we're one with the light, we're one with eternal love. We can be of service to the universe. So we accepted what some books refer to as the laggards, a whole bunch, millions perhaps, of souls from other evolutionary planetary streams that weren't necessarily as evolved, and they really needed, kind of like their own pearl, and they needed some help. So the Earth said, okay, we'll help out. Well, that didn't work out so well. And we needed some help to lift our vibrations up so we could once again remember our divine identities, get on with our lessons, and eventually become masters of vibration. Of course, that's what it takes to manifest the Christ to the point that you quote unquote ascend. So Sanat Kumara, Lady Venus, very important. Now, my understanding is that as we're bridging into the Korean frequency, they again become very central to the dynamic, because what I talked about before, this Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness business, the key element of this transformation is the nature of love. How do we perceive it? How do we receive it? How do we understand it as our essential nature? And then what do we do with that? So a little more about Venus. One of the reasons I think she's so prominent, and this is the third aspect of what I wanted to share with you, she represents the quote unquote return of the divine feminine to manifested human consciousness. Now that is a complete misnomer. It's kind of like yin and yang. Aren't they both there all the time? Absolutely. It's a question of what are we aware of, what are we working with, what are we conscious of, what are we expressing and spending more time with. It's easy to notice the last few thousand years, slightly patriarchal bias, you know, on purpose. And now we have the opportunity to bring that into balance. So whether you're talking about Lady Venus, whether you're talking about the goddess Isis, whether you're talking about Lady Kuan Yin, goddess of mercy, compassion, whether you're talking about beloved Mother Mary, beloved Artemis, on and on and on. So many representatives of the divine feminine across all the spiritual religions of human history are really coming to the fore. And I think her presentation to us is just one more aspect of that unfolding presence. So bottom line, Lady Venus is a beautiful, magnificent, transcendent, unfolding presence that's doing three things. She's helping awaken us to the nature of love, that is to say, the nature of ourselves. Expand our intuitive capabilities, because the divine feminine links to that left brain, links to that intuitive nature, links to that part of us that the logical, scientific part doesn't even think exists half the day. And then finally, her influence really sets the stage for us to both connect to, hold, and share more light. Because the more we as balanced individuals can be that balanced presence in the world, first in our own workaday experiences when we breathe and blink and eat and do all the normal things we do. And then when we do the things that we label as spiritual, which I might point out from the divine's perspective, there's no difference. It's when we can connect to these two energies, this yin and yang, this masculine and feminine, this intuitive, this balancing aspect, and really bring that forward with peace, with grace, with flow. That's when we're going to be our highest and best. And for any of you that were on that 922 call or have the opportunity to listen to that, listen behind her words. One of the things I noticed during that address, there was a tremendous depth. And what it told me is that her words were just the carrier wave. There was a lot more in that message. And I think it has to do with, again, this massaging of our human egos to the point that we are more receptive to the love that simply is. So that's what I got to say, relatively off the cuff, about Lady Venus on 3 aspects. Questions, comments from anybody? Joshua, do you think that took care of the request?
I think it did, yes.
That was really interesting, Louis. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thought we had a question coming. All right.
Rhonda, do you have anything to add about Venus? She's our one of our resident astrologers.
No, you covered it really well.
Thank Cafe Astrology.
Well, you covered the dimension that you even went into the goddess energy and all of that. So I think you did a phenomenal job. You don't need me.
It's not about need, darling. It's about earnestly, lovingly desire.
Oh, well, okay. If that's the case, that's fine.
In a strictly platonic way, of course.
Of course. Of course.
So I just want to say to everyone else, you're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Louis, thank you very much for that. Just beautiful listening to you. And you know, I marvel at the just miracle of spirit, whatever, you know, just surprise comes out of left field, as it were, and then you have exactly what we all need to understand it. Thank you.
Appreciate the opportunity. And more importantly, thank you for setting the stage for all this. I think, brother, that sometimes you forget how important it is to not just be the leader of the band, but to be connected to all the instruments within it. And you are more connected than you give yourself credit for.
Thank you. Of course, like, I can only see in my head, you know, those one-man band things. Oh, sorry. And Louis, you know, we made it through without talking about Star Wars or The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, yeah, or Marvel, or you know, any of those good things.
Yeah, we're getting good at this. All right. Well, I think let's leave you all to your evenings and what you want to do. Thank you so much, everyone, for plugging in like this and what we get to do together. I'll post this to YouTube later or tomorrow or something like that. But just it's such a gift to sit in energy with you all, to be connected. It's a gift, and I sound like an air stewardess when I say this, but we realize you have many other options.
Thank you for flying.
Thank you for flying. And
I think if this was an airline, we'd call it Spirit Air.
Amen.
Yes.
And as the full moon comes up in about an hour, the Mars is supposed to be able to be visible with it at sunset, or as it rises.
oh,
And I think with Louis, as you were talking about us moving into that Aries, just really, the physical manifestation is happening as well as the energetic.
And Venus is brilliantly available right before dawn till about the 15th. And we may even get to see Luna and Venus on the 13th to 15th, early pre-dawn. Yay, I'm excited.
Yay. Oh, that's perfect, because tonight the moon, as it arcs through the sky, will be descending about that time too. Oh, great.
I can't believe we all get so excited about this, but yes. Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Joshua, so much.
Trying to find who was
Thank
talking
you.
to get the camera on them, but it didn't work. Yeah.
I'm Jan Peck, was talking, and I don't have the camera.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Jan. Well, well, let's say goodnight, and God bless, and enjoy the rest of your week. And I've got to end this at some point.
You.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
God bless.
Bye. Thank
See you next time.
Bye.
Thank you.